all, welcome back to the Bygone basement. Now obviously our scheduling is a bit different today. We usually upload on a Monday, but we're filming this midweek. Reason for that is we've got something really special in the shop today. Some of you might know, some of you might not know about the Matthew Boulton medals. Now these were given to sailors who fought in the Battle of Trafalgar, and originally they weren't thought of as very valuable, so actually got thrown in the harbour. But actually they've now become quite valuable, and we really want to discuss this in further detail with you, talk you through the medals, and also we've brought quite a few little artefacts around from the Battle of Trafalgar as well, and we want to talk to you about that in detail. So here we go, let's have a look at these in further detail, and if you've got any questions at all, drop us a comment below in the comments box. Check us out on social media, and we'd love to hear from you, and we'll get back to you in a second. These medals were given out after the Battle of Trafalgar, a naval engagement between the British Royal Navy under the rule of George III and the combined fleets of France and Spain. The battle took place on the 21st of October 1805 in the Cape of Trafalgar in the Atlantic Ocean. On the face of it, the British ships were outnumbered almost 3-1, and the usual battle tactics would mean that the British were about to get wiped out. While the Franco-Spanish fleet lost 22 ships, the British actually lost none. However, it was to be Horatio Nelson's last battle. After being wounded by a French musketeer, he died shortly before the battle ended. The victory confirmed the naval supremacy that Britain had established during the course of the 18th century, and was achieved in part through Nelson's departure from the prevailing naval tactical orthodoxy of the day. Conventional battle practice at the time was for opposing fleets to engage each other in single parallel lines in order to facilitate signalling and disengagement and to maximise fields of fire and target areas. Nelson instead arranged his ships into columns sailing perpendicularly into the fleet's line. This meant that instead of being cannon fodder for the French and Spanish boats, the British boats sailed straight into the fleet, dividing them and leaving them open to an all-out assault on the bows and sterns of the Franco-Spanish boats. And instead of leading from the rear, Nelson put HMS Victory at the front of the attack, meaning that HMS Temeraire will be needed to push Victory out of the way. This then left the remainder of the fleet to clear up the rest. Sadly, it was at this point that Nelson took the shot from the French musketeer, which ended up taking his life. Ultimately, while on paper the Franco-Spanish side outnumbered the British, Nelson's strategy proved to be a deciding factor in this battle. However, following this battle, King George III chose not to recognise the bravery of the sailors who fought at Trafalgar. Well, one person in particular was privately outraged that these souls were not being recognised. So much so that at his own expense, Matthew Boulton arranged for these medals to be struck at his famous Soho Mint. I think it's worth mentioning perhaps why Matthew Boulton was so upset when the sailors didn't get the medals. Admiral Horatio Nelson was a much-loved figure of history. From his military feats of making cannonballs skip across the water by angling the ships in such a way that the shots would skim the surface and travel further, to the arrangements he made for his crews. He created a mess decks to give senior officers a separate eating area as a recognition for their service. He made every man save a bit of money, which became mess funds, which still exist today. A shared prize for capturing ships. Even these square plates were created to ensure that all crew got equal measures, regardless of if the chef liked you or not. Even when his party passed away, his crew paid for his body to be returned in a rum barrel aboard the HMS Pickle. So it's easy to see why someone like Matthew Boulton felt it his duty to recognise the sailors who were at the Battle of Trafalgar. However, sadly, most of these medals ended up in the harbour, as they weren't made of silver, and the crews felt slighted and threw them over the side, as they were not worth much in a pawn shop. The officers received silver medals. The situation wasn't put right by the Crown until the production of the Naval General Service Medal in 1848, which carried the clasp Trafalgar for those eligible and still alive to claim. Many of the crew were dead by 1848, so the Naval General Service Medal became known as the Dead Man's Medal. The medal itself shows the Battle of Trafalgar on one side and a good portrait of Admiral Nelson. Along the edge inscribed is "From M. Bolton to the heroes of Trafalgar," and on the reverse inscription, "England expects every man will do his duty." Now, given that a lot of these medals ended up in the harbour due to not being perceived as valuable, these medals don't come up often, even less so in these conditions. Also, we have a few artefacts from HMS Victory, namely the rivet and washer from Victory with the King's Mark, a little arrow on the rivet itself. We have a deck nail and copper sheathing for the outside of the hull from HMS Victory. We've also got a first example of trench art. Now, this was meant to be a memorial of Napoleon, and it was not Napoleon, Nelson, and it was meant to have the lid on it has been replaced with a brass candlestick, but still looks incredible. And lastly, we've actually got the newspaper from 1805 detailing the engagement at Trafalgar. All in all, a really fantastic collection. Now, the medals and everything here is sold separately, but if there's anything you want to know more of, or if you've seen something you'd like, do drop us a line, like I said, in the comments below, or perhaps on our social media as well. So I hope you've enjoyed today's objects of virtue. Like I said, we're out of the usual schedule today, but these were really special, so I wanted to get a video up quite quickly about them. I think these medals represent more than just medals. They are a figure or a token of appreciation for someone like Nelson, who really changed the way the Navy worked. Not just the way he fought, but the way he treated his crew as well. As I said before, if you've got any questions at all, drop us a comment below. Give us a shout on social media like Instagram. Here's the handle. We'd love to hear from you. If you've got any questions, let us know as well. And for now, have a great week, and we'll catch you soon. Cheers, bye.